Gymnastics. Remember, Michigan won the team title a couple weeks back in Ann Arbor, but Ohio State had an individual national champ for the first time in 6 years. Kameron Nelson, fifth-year senior, capping off his fantastic career by winning the NCAA vault title, the first Buckeye to win that event in 18 years. He also finished third on the floor. And Kameron Nelson joins us now for our big interview. Kameron, appreciate you taking the time to join us. I know we were talking down the line just before this interview that you were traveling internationally in Japan, so you had a chance to relax a little bit and bask in the glow a bit. How does it feel now a couple weeks later as you think about being an NCAA champ?
Yeah, it really feels unreal now, especially being back. I know I've left my legacy and I'm not going to be forgotten now, which is kind of the whole reason of coming to Ohio State for me. So it's definitely unreal, but also something that I kind of always looked forward to doing. So never doubted that I could do something like that. Yeah.
This is really kind of a storybook ending for you, Cam. I mean, you came back for a fifth year. This is literally the last rotation of your college career, right? Was the vault in the national championship, and you absolutely nail it. The vault is over so quickly. So I guess, like, if you can, give us an idea of what was going through your head, the culmination of all of this as you stood at the end of the runway preparing for this vault.
Yeah, so actually going last kind of worked in my benefit because I got to see all the competition before I even went. So I kind of knew what to expect with judging and what vaults were going on. So that kind of gave me a little bit of confidence with knowing what I was about to go and try to do. But yeah, like vault, as you said, was so quick, and being on the event, it feels really long for me. Like as soon as I salute my hand, I feel like how many breaths I take. I feel the ground and everything, and it feels for me a lot longer than it looks for the audience. And I just go through my mind and think about everything I've been doing in the gym over and over. I do a lot of vaults in a day, so it's muscle memory at that point. But you kind of just let your body go and do what you've been training for.
Yeah, there is this notion of you really have to peak at exactly the right moment, right? I mean, it can't be 10 seconds later or 15 seconds earlier. You got to be ready right then. How much of that is kind of what you were talking about and just the routine of how many times you've done it and gone about it in exactly the same way?
Yeah, I really have a competitive mindset. So when it comes to the big stage is when I'm most prepared and I have the most adrenaline and energy to go out and do it. And my body at this point is pretty broken down. But with the scene and the crowd, it like all of that disappears. And when I go up there, it's mostly about the numbers that I took because that's what's going to make sure that I do the vault the exact same way I've been doing it in the gym. But I really allow the environment to come in with me and release that energy into the vault. And I just kind of let loose a little bit, yeah.
Cam, if you want to talk about a broken down body, let's circle back in 30 years, okay?
Yeah.
And we can talk about what it feels like to be a little bit older than you are. Yeah. But you've talked a lot about manifestation, that manifesting is a big part of kind of how you go through your life, and you manifested this national title. How do you what is the mindset to get yourself into that mode of this is my goal and I am going to make this happen?
Yeah, it really comes down to just how I grew up and making it an obsession. I dream about gymnastics. I think about it 24/7, and when I'm not in the gym, I'm playing like a little gymnastics game on my phone. It's really 24/7 obsession over it, and with that, it just kind of becomes a reality with it. And it makes the dreams and goals a lot easier for me. So really, it's just how I live life for the most part. I go about it like with a fun mindset, but I'm really obsessing over all the little things. Yeah.
What's interesting to me is that I think there were some who thought that were you to win a national title, it might come on the floor, and you finished third on the floor, and so. I mean, which is amazing, right? You finished third in the nation in an event. But I know, again, you kind of set out this goal of I want to be a national champ during my time in college. So you knew you hadn't won the floor. How do you kind of put that behind you as you head to vault?
Yeah, with floor, it was really like it could have gone either way with the judging. Like they could have rejudged it and I could have been on top. But with the experience I've gone through, like you always have to just move on to the next event and reflect on it later. But I wasn't too pressed about it because I know that I left my performance out on the floor as best as I could, and I didn't really leave anything for granted. And I did exactly what I was training for. So win or lose, like it was still a great experience. But it was on. I knew that vault was still there, and I knew that that was a really important one for me. So I was still had something to look forward to.
We were talking about manifesting. I know you're big into visualization as well. And when you hear athletes say, visualize, I kind of always think about it as maybe you're just visualizing that yourself on the floor, yourself on the vault. But if I'm understanding correctly, you literally visualize the whole meet like in real time? You'll go through an hour visualization. Am I interpreting that correctly?
Yeah, when I was younger, I did a lot more of that. We would have hour long just lay down on the ground, close our eyes, and go through the whole meet, like warm up and all those little things. But now I kind of do it more when I'm going to sleep, which actually isn't a good habit because when I go to the meet, I start yawning because of that visualization that I'm doing in bed. So it kind of brings up those habits. But yeah, I'm always just thinking about how I do things, and it kind of reacts the micro muscles in your body, and your brain can't really process the difference between the visualization and what's really happening. So I use that to my advantage to do more reps in my mind.
Interesting. You talked about some of these techniques that you've been doing since you were a young gymnast. You grew up in Idaho. So how does one go from Idaho to Ohio State?
Yeah, both my parents were in the military, and so I had to move around all over the place. I've lived in 17 different houses before coming to Ohio.
Wow.
And this is the longest I've lived anywhere. But yeah, I've been everywhere. So I don't really say I'm from anywhere. I just say, yeah, I'm from everywhere when they ask.
You got injured your senior year of high school, and so you had committed to Ohio State, and you had said at that time that you weren't as into gymnastics as you had been earlier. How did you recapture the love for it, which obviously you have recaptured given the degree to which you obsess over it, between that time of that senior year injury and heading to Columbus?
Yeah, with moving and everything, that really puts a lot on my mental state. So, that time of life was we had COVID, going into COVID, and then injury, moving away, and just like little stuff like that kind of put me away from gymnastics and changed the way I thought about it. But coming back into college where I had more me time, more time to just reflect on what I wanted personally and not just what everyone else was putting me into. Whatever environment I was around is what it was. So it was more of a my own identity thing coming into college, and I regained that love with gymnastics, what I always had. It just needed that time to spark it again and really get back in tune with things. But yeah, the COVID thing was huge for that. Just kind of needed to get back on rhythm.
Fair to say you were not alone in that experience.
Yeah.
A lot of people went through similar mindset issues during COVID, no doubt. Okay, so now you've graduated from college, you're a national champ, you just spent some time in Japan. What's next?
Yeah, next is going to USA's for gymnastics. I'm going to try to make another national team. And then I'm going to see if I can train for another 3 years to train for Olympics in 28. That's a huge goal of mine, and every gymnast always has that goal to go to the Olympics. So that's next for me. I'm going to stay in Ohio for this next few months to coach some camps. I know some kids are looking forward to seeing me coach camps for them. So I'm going to stay here for the summer, and then I'm going down to Florida to continue my elite gymnastics career and really push for the next goal.
Well, tremendous. Congratulations on achieving this goal, Cam. It's a lofty goal, and you nailed it. So, Cam Nelson, a national champ, and kind enough to join us here on Big Ten Today. Enjoy. Thanks, Cam.
Thanks so much.
We're going to go back to